I want to ask you about what happened in Munich, Germany at the security conference. Vice President Vance gave a speech, and he told U.S. allies that the threat he worries about the most is not Russia. It is not China. He called it the threat from within, and he lectured about what he described as censorship, mainly focusing, though, on including more views from the right. He also met with the leader of a far-right party.
If you express the wrong views in Germany, in these countries, they are putting you in jail. If you insult people, that is a jail sentence.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you're in the internet, if I insult you or a politician...
That sticks around forever.
Yeah.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders. But in most cases, a judge levies a stiff fine and sometimes keeps their devices.
How do people react when you take their phones from them?
They are shocked.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir mussten bitte mal mit Ihnen reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online. At the exact same time, across Germany, more than 50 similar raids played out. Part of what prosecutors say is a coordinated effort to curb online hate speech in Germany.
That is totalitarian. If you don't agree with the state, however we frame what we find insulting, you're going to jail. That is how they destroy civilizations, countries, and make people's lives absolutely ridiculously hard as they have to kowtow to the party line. Good luck in China if you speak out against President Xi. It's not much better, apparently, in England and Germany, maybe slightly.
Known as the AfD, which, as you know, is under investigation and monitoring by German intelligence because of extremism.
Extremism,
What
that's
did
what they're
all of
framing
this
it as.
accomplish other than irritating our allies?
Because you're standing up for free speech and Western values that they're rapidly trying to throw down the garbage chute.
Why would our allies or anybody be irritated by free speech and by someone giving their opinion? We are, after all, democracies. The Munich Security Conference is largely a conference of democracies in which one of the things that we cherish and value is the ability to speak freely and provide your opinions. And so I think if anyone's angry about his word, they don't have to agree with him, but to be angry about it, I think actually makes his point. I thought it was actually a pretty historic speech, whether you agree with him or not. I think the valid points he's making to Europe is we are concerned that the true values that we share, the values that bind us together with Europe, are things like free speech and democracy and our shared history in winning 2 world wars and defeating Soviet communism and the like. These are the values that we shared in common. And in that Cold War, we fought against things like censorship and oppression and so forth. And when you see backsliding and you raise that, that's a very valid concern. We can't tell them how to run their countries. He simply expressed in a speech his view of it, which a lot of people frankly share. And I thought he said a lot of things in that speech that needed to be said. And honestly, I don't know why anybody would be upset about it. People are allowed,
One of the German leaders actually cried about it.
After the speech of Vice President Vance on Friday, we have to fear that our common value base is not that common anymore. I'm very grateful to all those European politicians that spoke out and reaffirmed the values and principles that they are defending. Let me conclude, and this becomes difficult.
This is how virtue signaling that nation has become. That the that they cried because J.D. Vance insulted their values. Maybe J.D. Vance should go to jail.
You don't have to agree with someone's speech. I happen to agree with a lot of what he said, but you don't have to agree with someone's speech to at least appreciate the fact they have a right to say it, and that you should listen to it and see whether those criticisms are valid. I assure you, the United States has come under withering criticism on many occasions from many leaders in Europe, and we don't go around throwing temper tantrums about it.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide.
What?
And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views. And
Free speech was used to conduct a genocide? Does this woman know what she's talking about? Anybody inside of Germany that spoke out against Hitler was thrown in the gulags, or worse, killed very quickly. What she's saying is patently false. And this is an indication as to how she feels about free speech.
some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that
Nice framing.
was changing the tone of it. And you know that the
Well, I
censorship
have to disagree with
was
You know that? Hold on. You know that. This is like a person who just told you a huge lie that you apparently committed in their eyes, and they say, and you know that, and you know that they're lying. This is what this woman is doing. She's like forcing her point upon Marco Rubio with that statement.
specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history.
Not at all.
I also think it's wrong. Again, I go back to the point of his speech. Okay, the point of his speech was basically that there is an erosion in free speech and intolerance for opposing points of view within Europe, and that's of concern because that is eroding. That's not an erosion of your military capabilities. That's not an erosion of your economic standing. That's an erosion of the actual values that bind us together in this transatlantic union that everybody talks about. And I think allies and friends and partners that have worked together now for 80 years should be able to speak frankly to one another in open forums. Without being offended, insulted, or upset. And I spoke to foreign ministers from multiple countries throughout Europe. Many of them probably didn't like the speech or didn't agree with it, but they were continuing to engage with us on all sorts of issues that unite us. So again, at the end of the day, I think that people give that is a forum in which you're supposed to be inviting people to give speeches, not basically a chorus where everyone is saying the exact same thing. That's not always going to be the case when it's a collection of democracies where leaders have the right and the privilege to speak their minds in forums such as these.
Mr. Secretary, I'm told that we are out of time.
The reality is you should be out of a job for having stated that a Holocaust was conducted in Nazi Germany because they allowed free speech. It is patently false. It demonstrates the media and what they feel about free speech. Free speech should be for them, but not for you. What free speech is when you can't stand what somebody else is stating, but you allow them to say it. That is what free speech is. I don't agree, for example, with Roland Martin and his band of black supremacists in their election meltdown video said, F white immigrants, literally a quote. I don't agree with that, but they have the right to say that. I can find it offensive. That doesn't mean that I should put them into jail because they're expressing their views. This is the battle of ideas that we are able to have the words battle each other out instead of just us. When you suppress speech, when you keep all of that latent hostility down as they're doing in Germany, because right now in Germany, according to 60 Minutes, if you insult somebody, you can be arrested. If you insult somebody online, it's even worse because it lasts forever. In that case, people need to develop a thicker skin. This is the problem when you live in a zero-gravity environment that we have as humanity today, that things can't just roll off your back because you've got more important things to do, like providing for your family or cutting firewood so that your family stays warm for the winter. We live in a zero-gravity environment, and our egos find reasons to be offended by absolutely everything and anything, and this is how we gain notoriety, and we gain significance within, and it makes us feel something because I'm offended, therefore I'm something. People speak badly about me all the time. Maybe it's deserved. but I don't go running to mommy and say, imprison this person. And the problem is, under this totalitarian regime, once you have the ability to throw somebody in jail because of what they say, then all you have to do is tweak the dial as to what is considered offensive. And then you have a top-down regime that allows no new thoughts, no creativity, because people are too scared to venture and to explore the world and to see, to run up against the barriers that exist or the lines that people have for one another in polite society. This is what they are doing. It's a nanny state that dictates everything, and then it becomes incredibly brittle, and then it crumbles all at once. And the problem is, with AI enforcing everything, the people that originally are able to program the computers and control them will be able not to have a policeman that has some sympathy for the individual that he's arresting and maybe let him go. No, it's just going to be done by computer algorithm. And that, unfortunately, is where we are headed. So I'm incredibly upset that Margaret Brennan stated this to Marco Rubio, because it's patently false. She deserves to lose her job. And I don't know why anybody watches CBS. They aren't in favor of free speech. They rely on free speech in order to get out of lawsuits when they libel somebody because they claim free speech. It's a sad state of affairs that this is happening in America on network television, where they are demonizing free speech. They're telling you exactly what they think of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have a blessed day. Thumb up the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend if you think I had made some good points here.